Steady on, Sam, steady on. How you doing, everyone? How you doing? Welcome to the video. My name is Adam, and I'm here to take you on a very, very quick whistle-stop journey through the latest Navatsky Local music album, 116. Woo! It's the third of this year, 2023. It's actually 40 years now. 40 incredible years. It's nearly half a century of Now music. The first one coming out, Now 1 in 1983. Here we are yet again with a whole new volume of songs, and the purpose of these videos is to ask ourselves which ones are any good or not, which ones will stand the test of time, which ones are just kind of mere here today, gone tomorrow fodder, versus which ones are actually real classic pop and got something really timeless about them. We try and step outside any kind of demographics such as gender or race or age. We try and go a bit transcendental and look at them on a musical level. Whether you're 4 or 84, which one of these songs are going to get you singing and jumping and dancing, and which ones are going to get you reaching for the off dial. Well, it's a cracking start for these two veterans of music, Calvin and Sam, who between them, I reckon they must have made at least 50 appearances on Now albums, if not more. And Calvin was top spot on the last Now with Ellie Goulding. This is in a similar kind of style, albeit with obviously slightly different vocals. So, bearing in mind that just a few Nows ago, Calvin was doing incredibly authentic 70s disco. It's amazing how we switched up to kind of 90s trance, yet it still sounds like him. He really is a versatile producer, and this is a really good song. It does remind me a bit of Tokka's Miracle in the vocal melody, and it's not the first time that old classic from a good 20 years ago now makes something of a resurgence stylistically, so what goes round comes round, and we do seem like there's a bit of a kind of soft trance thing coming back again, and this is a good way of opening the album. Now, follow this one up with Olivia Rodrigo, and I should say as well, these are just my thoughts. I want to hear everyone's thoughts. I want to know what you think, if I got it right, if I got it wrong. Yeah, let me know. So, Olivia Rodrigo and Vampire is song number 2. Now, the first thing I'll say about that one, I'll stick it on, is that at the beginning is exactly the same chord pattern as Creep by Radiohead. Figure it out. I'm sure that's deliberate, or it's not accidental. It might be. It might just be subconscious, but in fact it's very similar. It does progress from there, and the chords kind of go all over the shop, really. And to be honest, they're probably the best thing about it. Now, she used to be this sort of simpering little girl, if you like, vocally, and she's still kind of that. But she's also saying the F word, fuck her, I'll say it, because as I've said before, it's not that I have a problem with swearing, per se, but I have a problem with inappropriate bad language that screws up the vibe of the music, and this is such a textbook example of that. You can't be all simpering little girl 1 minute and then swearing like a Geordie dogger the next. Who are you? What are you trying to do? What's the point of the music? So, this is a very strange, curious egg of a song. There's a lot to like about it musically. After about a minute of this sort of soft, kind of piano stuff, you get a full band, and it almost sounds like a kind of Meatloaf-like version, if that makes sense. So it's all very dramatic, and it has got some nice touches. I guess the kind of vocal melody itself is a bit weak. He's singing, but there's not really much of an actual song. It's also a bit one-notey. And the swearing is a really, really simple error of judgment. Fuck her. Not you, Olivia. Not you. I don't mind hearing that on some kind of, heavy rock tune or something, but not this. And the same applies to song number 3, Doja Cat. Painting the Town Red. Is that a kind of satanic thing, or is that just a turn of phrase? It starts with a sample of Walk On By, which is quite nice. But the very first word Doja herself utters is the word bitch, and it had me reaching for the skip button. Yet again, it's not ladylike. How would you like it if I said fuck off you talentless bitch? You wouldn't like it, would you? So you're allowed to say it, why can't I? That's what happens if we keep going down this route. Now, what the world really needs is yet another simpering little girl. I mean, we've only got Lana Del Rey, we've only got Billie Eilish. Olivia Rodrigo, Mimi Webb, Holly Humberstone, and a zillions more. So clearly there's a gap in the market. I know what, why not have another one? And this one goes by the name of Kenya Grace. It's okay, the music's alright in a very kind of washed out, emasculated, bollockless shopping mall music kind of way. It's just there and then it's gone. So let's go over to now another lady who makes her debut, I understand, on the Now. And this one is called Peggy Goo, is it? Peggy Gow? I prefer Peggy Goo because it sounds like a Buddy Holly song. And it goes like, na na na. Great nana. Now the funny thing is, despite na 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 not sounding like it's going to be the most literate song of all, she actually does sound like a grown adult at least. And, you know, that's well, as adult as you can get, singing na 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 over and over again. Again, we're going back to the sort of late 90s soft trance thing with a kind of ATB, kind of Balearic sort of sound. It's fairly speedy. It's light but speedy. Nice bass line there. So it's got a bit of urgency to it, which is beefed up with some hammer pianos that come in. It's kind of a weird combination of laid-back vocals and quite speedy music. Not bad at all. So I'd rather have a nice bit of na 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 than all this sort of motherfucker bitch stuff. That's Peggy Goo and na na na. Kylie is back with Tension. After some really good singles recently. This is back to the kind of overproduced computer music which she was doing about 20 years ago. Doesn't really have a proper tune. Everything sounds like hyper expensive, but it's just got no groove, no funk, or no grit whatsoever. Now, next up is another oldie, but a goldie. Beyond Chicago, Majestic, and Alex Mills, and $1 Million Bill. $1 Million Bill. Which, I'm sure you all know, is a song by Whitney. And if I'm not mistaken, it was on Now 74. They don't do a great deal to it. They just kind of pump it up a bit. But they keep everything that you liked about that one, if you liked it, on this one. So it's a nice pumping, upfront house version of it. Good one indeed. One of the contenders for best song on the album. Nothing really to dislike about it. Now, Becky. We really need to talk about Becky. Now, Becky, don't swear, please. It sounds bad. You're above all that. Let the others do that. You don't swear. You don't need to swear. I don't think I've ever heard you swear before, and I don't like it. I don't like your pretty face coming up with bad words. There, I've said it. Chase the status as well. Often winners or runners-up and best song on the Now, you're worthy of far greater things. You've done stuff that's been absolutely brilliant. This is crass. This is just a brain wrong. It sounds like bad DJ Fresh from about 10 years ago. You know, it's just dreadful, really. Becky, what on earth are you doing? And Chase the Status, what are you doing? It's no, this is far beneath both parties. You know, there's clearly some good bits because it's Becky Hill and Chase the Status, but all in all, it's just too shrill, too crass. Very, very, very disappointing. Becky, get back to what you do best. Chase the Status, get back to what you do best. Maybe it's custard and mustard. Maybe we just don't work together well. Which is a real shame. But there we go. Now, Bittersweet Symphony. Was that on Now 37, I think? Or 39? It was definitely from about that era, 1997 odd. And it's back again now. We'll have a bit of this one. Izzy Cross and Bittersweet Goodbye. Now, of course, it didn't originally come from the Verve. It came from the Rolling Stones. And there was even a court case to take the Verve to money. So I don't know who's going to benefit from its use yet again. Some nice kind of amen-y breaks there. Telling us that we're in the world of D&B. The vocals aren't brilliant on this. They're not quite as simpering as some of the others. They're still a bit little girly, but it carries fairly well. It's a nice Reese bass going on there. So it's kind of a bit commercial. It's actually way better than the Becky Hill and the Chase and Status one before it. But it's very, very sort of the commercial version of what is technically D&B, I suppose. So that's Bittersweet Goodbye. Another real classic now. Just have a little bit more of that. Sonny Fodera and MK Asking, another real good club banger. And this has got some of the best vocals on it, on the album so far. So, there we go. Pretty good song that. Commercial D&B. Izzy Cross. Can see the people liking it. But we're going to go off to Sonny Fodera and MK and Asking. Now, funnily enough, this is not the only MK moment on this album. There'll be another one coming up very shortly. Yeah, a good sort of pumping piano house. And it sounds again a bit like Whitney, vocally speaking. You can see the quality using out of this one. So definitely a contender for Song of the Album. Billy Gillis. Next up, Billy Gillies. And it's another one that's got that soft, bouncy techno vibe. Stripped down and decidedly less kind of euphoric and ecstatic than the good old days. You've got some Alice DJ and a bit of Talker's Miracle yet again. A bit of ATB. So it's 2023, shaping up to the new 1999. Well, for the sake of IT departments up and down the country, I hope not. I don't think we really want a 2024 bug. With a kind of longer build-up and a more dynamic arrangement, this could really get somewhere. But it's not bad at all. That's Billy Gillies and DNA. Loving You Is In My DNA. Now, that features Hannah Boleyn. Another Hannah now, because Hannahs are like London buses. You get two at once. It's Hannah Lane and Roro, Good Love. Now, I've been banging on about Scottish dance music for a long time, and actually went up to Scotland about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I went to see Scott Brown DJing. And if you want bouncy techno from Scotland, that's your go-to source. Everything stacks up against that. Scott Brown, eh? Wow. Well, this is hardly as hardcore as that, but you know, that's where it all comes from, the bouncy techno stuff. So if you took the vocals and added about 10 or 15 more layers of synths and beats and some actual nice classical piano, you might be getting there. It's cut from the same cloth. That's Hannah Lang and Good Love. Now, MK here with Sonny Fodera, and I'm going to play this other one because it's another one with the MK sort of touch, but it features our old friend Rita Ora and our other old friend Joe Corey. So Joe Corey and Rita Ora and MK, not necessarily in that order, and it's called Drinking. Now, a couple of years ago, MK was on a song called One Night. This really sounds like he's ripped that off, or she's ripped it off. I'm sure she's talked about getting tipsy before, Rita. You want to be careful. You really do. You don't want to turn yourself into Amy Winehouse. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. Actually, this outshines Becky Hill. This is, you know, maybe not Becky Hill down a peg or two, which is a shame. But, you know, that's the free market. That's competition. Let's not also forget that Rita Ora started off as useless until she did the absolutely brilliant Anywhere, literally one of the top 10 best songs of the last 60 years. 5,000, 6,000 songs that I've reviewed. She did one of the 10 best. Isn't that incredible? This isn't that. And it does sound, like I say, like an old song. Just a couple of years old, but it's alright, it's alright. Gets you pumping along. So that's Joel and MK and Rita Ora. Now Stormzy is back, following this one with Ray and The Weeknd. Not The Weeknd, the artist, a song called The Weeknd. Imagine doing The Weeknd doing a song called Ray. This is the kind of inverse of that. It's Ray doing a song called The Weekend. Stormzy's back to rapping on this one rather than singing. It's not really my thing, it's not too bad. Ray's vocals are actually pretty good. He's a bit up and down. But if they ditched all his vocals and just gave Ray a full lead vocal, I think it would have been better. Scissor, well, it's dull. It's called Snooze, and it is a bit of a snooze fest, really. I used to say that songs with the word boring or ordinary in the title are often boring and ordinary. Songs with the word snooze in the title make you want to snooze. He's got a nice voice, and the music just goes nowhere, though. You know, if he had a good song to wrap her pipes around, I would probably really like it. And the last one was quite interesting, about killing my ex or whatever. This one's nowhere near as good as that. Now, coming up, potential for Song of the Album. It's Pink Pantheress and Mosquito. So, Pink Pantheress has been around on a fair few of these nows recently. Pretty much every now for the last 4 or 5, I reckon. And Mosquito is not the first song named after an insect or an animal or something. I'm just trying to think. We had U2, the Fly, years ago. But anyway, Honey to the Bee. Was that Billy Piper or someone? Blimey. Showing an inordinate knowledge of random songs off nows. Yeah, she gets it right on this one. This is a really, really nice, classy song. Her voice is good. The music's good. It all fits together really well. It sounds very natural. It's fast but natural and organic. And kind of, even though it's sort of, you know, dancey, garagey, it's also very bandy. It sounds like it's got nice pianos and some liquid bass. The drums have a nice kind of pocket to them. And it doesn't just sound contrived, like some record company thing. It sounds like a genuinely talented production crew or band. And her voice really suits it well. So yeah, possibly her best song yet. And possibly a contender for best on the album. Watch this space. Nicki Minaj, well, she ain't going to get that award, but actually it's one of the best things she's ever done. It's only got about 30 seconds of bad rap on it. And you know me, if you watch these videos, I do my own edits. I edit out the raps if I don't like them, and I just leave the rest of it intact. Because the actual main vocals on the Nicki Minaj one are lovely. The music is deep and luxuriant. So, you know, you want to turn it off when you hear her rapping, but it's only for about 8 bars. We'll get rid of that and we'll keep the rest. Post Malone. Here's another one who, you know, once upon a time people called him a rapper. He's really not a rapper, and he's done exactly what I recommended all along. He's ditched the rap BS and he just sings. And as a result, it's one of his best songs. It's simple, it's direct, it's emotional. It's called Overdrive. It doesn't really sound like it's an overdrive. It's more mellow. It's more kind of like maybe autopilot. But it's not bad. It actually sounds like a soft rock song from about 1986. Almost like Mr. Mister or Cutting Crew, someone like that. It's even got some whistling on it, so well done, fella. You know, I kind of overcompensated a bit with Post Malone. I was so rude at first, now I feel like I want to be really polite, but it's a clearly really good song. Now, I think I've had my fill of Olivia's. We had Olivia Rodrigo earlier on. We've got another one now, Olivia Dean with Leon Bridges. So I've had one Olivia on this album. I don't really need to. It's not that bad. It's just a bit superfluous. It's, you know, once you've dealt with one of these Olivias, you've dealt with them all, really. So let's deal with Mr. Steven Sanchez, and a very, very nice song indeed. This is Steven's debut on a now, Until I Found You, and it's really nice indeed, actually. It's very classy. It's kind of down tempo without being boring, and yeah, it's got a sort of exotic vibe to it. Should we stick a bit of it on, see what it sounds like? Get a bit of this. Nice, isn't it? They always do these sort of weird songs towards the end of side 1 or disc 1. Sometimes it's where you get the best songs on the now. Yeah, it's a bit weirder than normal, and it sounds a bit more like, quote, proper music, unquote, rather than some of the contrived ones that we've had. The vocals are sort of shrouded in loads of reverb and stuff, and it's very tinkly like rain, so another contender for Song of the Album. We're not going to get to play much of it, because there's another classic coming up. Well, kind of classic, I think. Rick Astley. Never gonna stop you up, never gonna stop you down. He loves those two words, never gonna. And it's very meta, the way it's done here. Very, very meta. Those immortal words, never gonna. Once you hear it in the chorus, you won't unhear it. It's got nothing else in common with his moment that we don't need to mention because we all know it. And we all love it, reluctantly. I would say Rick's had a tremendous 2023, even if he starts to look more and more like Trigger from Fools and Horses with every video he does. He's on bloody great form vocally here, and he reminds us of where people like Rag and Bone Man and George Ezra came from. I guess you call it Blue-Eyed Soul, really. It's a cracker of a tune. It's gently funky, and it's very soul and gospel influenced. And he keeps saying, never gonna do this, never gonna do that, which I feel is a big, kind of in-joke almost. It's good. It's good. It's funny whilst being soulful, if you like. It's not kind of like, oh, look at me, I'm so witty. It's just a sort of acknowledgement of his past that maybe he can't shake away from. Now, James Blunt, Beside You. I don't know, Rick Astley and James Blunt on the same album? Wow. Well, he's actually singing some of the most dancey beats I've ever heard him sing on, if you can call him that. It's a bit like the dance music by Planet Perfecto. Very, very light. It's hardly real kind of like Clubland Euphoria, but it's kind of dance inflected. It's okay, it's nothing special. It's just a James Blunt song. And I think you could say the same about Take That. This must be their 100th song on her now. It certainly feels like it. It's very lush and it's kind of well done. Not particularly memorable. You don't really take it home with you, but it's nice enough. Adult man version of Take That. Can't really complain. Now we'll move on to disc 2 with a very, very striking comeback indeed. Well, what can we say then? Believe it or not, the Stones made their first appearance way back on Now 2 with Under Cover of the Night. It's a really good song actually, that. Doesn't get as much credit as it should. They've made the odd Now appearance. I think they were on Now 29, was it? With that one that was around the same time as Oasis and Blur, I forget the name now. So they've been... they're no strangers to Now. And didn't Mick Jagger? I'm sure he's made a couple of guest appearances. Unbelievably, this is an absolutely great song. It's really good. It's really classic Stones, despite obviously R.I.P. Charlie Watts, not on this one. But everything else is exactly as you'd expect. It's got a really good production. It combines being kind of modern with being classic. Very good kind of spatial degree to the production, if you like. Everything's in its right space. It's not over compressed. It's kind of roomy, but it's still got punch in them. Mick looks and sounds like just the same as the 60s, really. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So Angry. What a great song. What a great way to start this side. Can we keep it up? Well, it's Olivia time yet again. Yet again. But you know what? This next one's not that bad, really. It's certainly a strange beast. It is called Bad Idea, right? All in lowercase and missing the comma, but at least he's got the question mark in. Now that is a very strange one because it's kind of new wave. It reminds me of something like The Waitresses. Remember that Christmas rapping song? Kind of like that. You kind of think, I'll have to get rid of all the rapping, but then it's so kind of integrated into the rest of the song that it's not as out of place as maybe it might have been or could have been. It's not sort of bolt on, it's kind of integrated into the whole tune. Even maybe a bit Tom Tom Club in places, which can't be bad. Best thing about the song is the guitars and the drums, they really kick ass. So I do like it. And it's not as simpering as her other stuff, even her other song on here, Vampire. So it's a pretty good one then. That's Olivia Rodrigo and Bad Idea, right? Right, from the motion picture Barbie. It's not Aqua. It's Billie Eilish. What was I made from? Made for even? What was I made from? What was I made for? Well, what can you say? It's all as slow and maudlin as everything Billy ever does. And it has got a very nice melody and arrangement. It can't be denied. It'd be quite interesting to hear someone turn it, like Calvin Harris, turn it into a kind of bouncy techno smash. It kind of might work quite well in a strange sort of way. So that's Billie Eilish, What I Was Made For. That is The Stones, and here is Tom Odell with a decidedly more down-tempo, Black Friday. But it actually follows on really well from the Billie Eilish one, because that's also pretty down-tempo. And there's a kind of wind that breezes this one in. So we've got a piano, we've got a set of pipes, and one thing I do like about Tom Odell's voice is he doesn't oversing. I think I've said this before. He does hit some high notes, but it's not too oversung and it's not too auto-tuned. It's got a kind of rawness to it, which is nice. Yeah, it's got some good lyrics and it's performed authentically. Good song, even if it is a tad slow. Talking of slow, Lana, well, what do you expect? Lana Del Rey. We're really going for it now, aren't we? With Radio. And, yeah, it's slow, but it's not too slow. And it kind of slowly builds. And it builds up pretty well. And it follows this quite well. So the sequencing's pretty interesting on this side so far. And for Lana Del Rey tune, it's actually, it's almost kind of gospel-y. It's definitely one of her better tunes. Now it's our old friend Sia. We haven't seen her for a while with Gimme Love after that disaster of a film she tried about autism. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it was wrong on every level, really. So she's got back to doing what she does best, and I've always given her something of a free pass since the Sublime Titanium with David Guetta. Now this song, Gimme Love, it follows well on from Radio by Lana Del Rey. Can we stick a bit of it on? Yeah, why not? So there we go, Tom Odell, and here is Sia, Gimme Love. She's up with Sam Smith with the stupid costumes, isn't she? But it's a builder of a song, and this one actually again gets to a kind of gospel-y kind of vibe towards the end. Now, talking of Sam Smith and Madonna, S&M, or SS&M even. Wow, vulgar in big letters. And it kind of follows on a bit from the one that he did with, what's her name? Mind blank. Unholy. So I'm sure it'll be a nice, tasteful, subtle, wholesome affair all about knitting, or maybe a nice game of Scrabble. Sam Smith and Madonna. Actually, when you break it down, you've got to wonder how much actual sexual chemistry there is between those two. Maybe not between the sheets, anyway. Who knows? What we're judging is the music. We're only going in that way because they're talking about being vulgar, and as such it kind of feels a bit WAP, and I don't mean wireless access point, I mean the other thing that WAP stands for. Madonna's been doing all this for fucking, excuse my French, 40 odd years, Like a Virgin, Justify My Love and all that. It's not really anything new per se. Musically, it's got some of those Asian vibes that Unholy had, with a similar clunking kind of beat. So, although it's utterly ridiculous as a song, and it hasn't really got much of a tune to speak of, it's actually better than it might seem on paper. And it's interesting to compare and contrast the bad language, and there's an awful lot. But you know what? Sam Smith and Madonna, you kind of expect them to have foul tongues and to play the part of people who would swear, even if it's not their real selves. It's musical personas, if you like. And so, therefore, it's not too out of kilter with the music. I think it's interesting to compare and contrast the use of bad language on this with some of the ones that were on side one. It kind of works here because it is that kind of song. It's vulgar after all. So there we go. Now, I want to swear when I hear will.i.am and Britney. Is it 2007 all over again? Mind your business. I certainly want nothing to do with this. It's appalling, and I've been a big Britney defender. This is everything wrong with Britney's stuff. This is the stuff that drove her mad in the first place. will.i.am, what on earth happened, man? You're stuck in 2007. You've not been around for ages, and you've gone right back to where you were then. It's drivel, really, this one. It's a reminder of how shit Black Eyed Peas really could be. It's pretty much as bad as My Humps, My Lady Lumps. Only Britney's doing all the Fergie stuff here. And this is not what you want to be doing, Britney. Oh dear, you're going to go right, you're going to have a relapse if you do stuff like this. I thought you got away from that. So no, we don't like that. Now, talking of 2007, who remembers Timbaland, Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake? Well, they're back again, this almighty crew of people. And this song is called Keep Going Up. And you know what? This is good. It's nice. I actually think Nelly, who I sometimes thought had a pretty annoying voice, she does really well on here. I often said that Nelly Furtado's at her best when she's doing a duet or a collab, and that's definitely the case here. She works well with Justin Timberlake. They kind of bring out a good side to each other, and Timbaland is pretty sick on production here. You know, it's not the most exciting music I've ever heard, but it's got a nice expansive bass thing that fills the room, and there's a bit of dynamism in it, some quiet bits, some loud bits. So it's pretty interesting, and yeah, it's a kind of bridge between 2007 and now, really. Keep Going Up. It's actually interesting to compare with the will.i.am one, because whereas he sounds stuck in 2007, these guys seem a lot more, they've kind of moved on a bit. They've all lived and loved in the intervening period, and it's like the old gang getting back together again for one last heist. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. Now, another one that's a contender for Song of the Album, a real contender, so you might have to stick it on. It's Jazzy and Feel It. Now, she's done 2 or 3 that I've really liked, and this is as good as anything. It's just proper up-tempo music, really good dance music, got really good energy, and she sings like the kind of vocals that you want on dance music. I often rail against annoying singers. There's a certain kind of vocal that you want on dance music, and Jazzy has that in spades. It's another one that's a bit like Alice DJ or something, very 99 in that regard. But it's also got this kind of hot butter, popcorn style popping synth that comes in, which ultimately is the kind of roots of a lot of this stuff. So yeah, we like this one a lot. But right up against it is another absolute club banger, just as good, if not better. How can you compare? It's maybe a bit slower, but it's a bit heavier as well, simultaneously. We'll get it on. It's a bit of Gorgon City and Voodoo. But very, very good song there from Jazzy and Feel It. We'll follow that one up with Gorgon City and Voodoo. Are we voodoo people? Yes, we are indeed. So what's good about this? Well, it's got a very good syncopated kind of sequencer groove to it. It's got a kind of ethereal production with kind of ghostly, disembodied, angelic choirs, swirls and bleeps, which are always nice. And it's not too fast, as I say, but it's fast enough. Yeah. Which is better out of this than Jazzy then? Ooh. We'll have to have a think about that and come back to it. Meanwhile, we follow this one with Leanne featuring Iris Star and My Love. Okay, well this is pretty good carnival, dancehall, Afrobeat sort of stuff. It's got a bit more oomph, it gets you dancing more than some of the more soporific examples of that genre. Doesn't even need a guest appearance from Ed Sheeran to sell it either, it works on its own. So that's pretty good. That's Leanne and My Love. Single soon follows with Selena Gomez. So okay, it's some hazy post-80s stuff. Nothing particularly special, but nothing wrong with it. Perfectly nice. And we follow that one up with, oh God help us, Meghan Trainor and Mae Stevens. Ah dear, Mr. Right. Well, would you say that Meghan Trainor is your archetypal 2023 American woman? God help us if that's the case. Actually, like all the stuff, you know, there's a joke about Meghan Trainor, but when you scrape it down, there are some musical chops there. Whether it's her, whether it's a producer, whether it's her mum, even Meghan has her mother. She's not going on about bum bums and arse or bass or whatever this time round. It's almost like May, it's a kind of restraining influence. Mae Stevens, just kind of reel it back a bit, Meg, reel it back a bit, you know? You feel she's like that. So it's not quite as cringe as normal for Megan. Maybe still a bit overbearing. But it has got some nice music and it's got some nice chords. Now, I'm going to do something I never normally do. I never did this in the 90s or noughties. I would have felt decidedly self-conscious, but I think enough water has gone under the bridge now. We're all a bit older and wiser. We can look back at S Club and say, these are the days. Every dog has its day, and maybe the S Club 7 dog, or whatever number they are now, has had its day. The only one of theirs I ever gave any sort of time of day to was the Don't Stop, whatever, Dancer one, Don't Stop Moving, the one that we all like. But here, it's that family reunion style, yeah, you know, this pulls at the heartstrings. You'd have to be inhuman not to feel something when you hear it. It's incredibly retro, incredibly kind of milquetoast to a certain extent. Sounds like it's got a kind of MIDI double bass. I can't believe it's a real one. Maybe it is. Almost goes a bit back to the Spectre era, and it's all kind of Christmassy, and it's probably used to sell turkeys at Lidl's. But yeah, you know, if you don't like this, you're missing something. It is what it is. Talking of revivals, the Sugar Babes, Blimey O'Reilly. And it's a bit like this one. It's got a bit of emotion to it. It's that kind of old gang getting back together again. Water under the bridge. Some of the sounds are a bit grating, but it's got actually very good vocals on it, so that's a good one. And talking of revivals, yet again, you go further back now. We go back to the very first Now 1, Duran Duran. How many songs did they have on Nows then? Well, in the 80s they had loads and loads. They had Is There Something I Should Know, New Moon on Monday, The Reflex, View to a Kill, Wild Boys Never Made It, should have done. Then they went through that funny period, just stuff like Notorious. And then they had their kind of not very good period in the very late 80s. I Don't Want Your Love and All That She Wants. Then they had that very, very quirky and odd version of White Lines. Not exactly very successful. Up here, it seems like they've gone full circle and they've gone right back to the very earliest sound. Should we get a bit of it on? Because it is Duran Duran at the end of the day. It's kind of music history, isn't it? Wow. So, Black Moonlight, Duran Duran. Yeah, it's kind of funky, white funk, a bit stiff, but it kind of still got a groove to it. And overlaid with some nice kind of sci-fi synths. They always had a Sparks influence, and they acknowledged that on the documentary, The Sparks Brothers, which is nice. So yeah, Duran Duran, Black Moonlight. I must say, this last half of the second side is a kind of like, now that's what I call Now, going through all its old eras. The Killers follow this, and although they're more modern than Duran Duran, they're still there with that 80s sound. I kind of want to play it as well. I might play a bit. We'll play a bit of this. The Killers, Your Side of Town. It's got a great snare. Really, really good snare. That was Duran Duran, and this is The Killers. Listen to that hand clap, kind of snare hand clap thing. Like in Get Into the Groove by Madonna. If anything, it sounds a bit like the Pet Shop Boys, the kind of orchestral hits and stuff there. Stravinsky's last hit. It's another contender for Song of the Album. It's a great song, really good melody, very 80s, but still kind of modern as well. Kind of rocky, kind of electronic, still pop. And we follow this with another. Well, it's not really a comeback because they were back last time, but the Pretenders. And they proved that last time wasn't a fluke. They do it again this time round. Maybe a bit slower, but it's a good sound indeed. It's a love, and it's got some nice flashy guitars and Chrissy Hines in good voice. It's a good one. Followed by Dermot Kennedy and Don't Forget Me. Now, I really like the lyrics to that. I really do, because it's meta again. It's a song about songwriting. It's big Irish sounding pop rock. His stuff's always very rousing, very big and anthemic, and I identify that one. I like it a lot. Yeah, good one. Now, James Arthur, Blindside, it's kind of okay. It's a bit overwrought and it's a bit oversung to the point where it actually sounds a bit hammered. halfway through, like he's been out drinking with Rita Ora. It's kind of light 80s soft rock. It's not bad, not bad. Next up, we've got Sean Ducrot and Heaven, which is probably Sean's best song to date, really. It's very personal and direct stuff. It's nice, a bit more upbeat than some of his stuff, while still kind of being a ballad at heart. Some of his stuff's been a bit oversung. This one's not too bad at all. I'd say that's a contender to be the best Sean Ducrot song. We'll follow that with Luke Combs, Luke Combs, and Fast Car. We'll get a bit of that on. So it's a Tracy Chapman song, and there was a version of it, a very ropey dance version a few years ago, that kind of totally mangled the song to pieces and was absolutely abysmal. Was it Jonas Blue or someone? Here we go back to what the song's supposed to be about, which is basically very just down to earth, acoustic, country rock, country folk rock, I guess. Obviously, he ain't no Tracy Chapman, he's a Luke Combs. But, you know, he's found something in the song that's really kind of archetypal, and he's made it his own while paying total tribute to the song itself. Good cover indeed. Is it better? Nah, it's never going to be better than the Tracy Chapman one, but it's okay indeed. Now, I'm not going to play much of this because we've got one more to play, and it's a rather striking number indeed. It's the one and only, excuse pronunciation, Agneta Fältskog, i.e. the lady from ABBA. Now, ABBA had a bit of a comeback last year, but that song never made her now. Here she is on her own, and it is Where Do We Go From Here? Well, this is where we go, and it's a great way of ending the album. I'll do the run through as we go through what are the classics on here. Yeah, it's nice. It's very modern, and it shows all these young singers really how to sing properly. She's kind of, well, you know, she's been doing this for 50 odd years, I guess. So, where do we go from here? That was Luke Combs and Fast Car. Bit of vocal cracking there. Probably should have edited that out, really, but what the hell, you know me. A bit slapdash, that's the way we like it. We don't like things over-polished around here. Yeah, so it's the ABBA revival track-ish, at last. It's very bright, but then ABBA always stuff was. Very well produced. But her voice is really, really nice on this, and it's got a kind of a sort of sentimental vibe that runs through a lot of these tracks. So, it's not one of the longest nows ever. There's only 47 instead of 50 songs on this one. But there's been an awful lot to get through. Which ones are real classics? Well, Calvin and Sam get off to a good start. Vampire's a bit mediocre from Olivia. It's got its moments, but it's misjudged. A few that aren't brilliant. Very disappointing from Becky Hill and Chase the Status. Very, very disappointing. I did prefer $1 Million Bill. And I definitely preferred Sonny Fodera, MK, and Clementine Douglas. Asking. A couple of interesting kind of dance ones. DNA and Good Love. Drinking's alright. Scissor Snooze is kind of dreary. Pink Pantheress Mosquito's very, very good indeed. Overdrive by Post Malone was quite good. Until I Found You, Stephen Sanchez good. Rick Astley, Never Gonna Stop, Never Gonna Stop. Pretty good. Rolling Stones, great comeback with Angry, and I think that's probably the deciding factor of this album is some really, really good comebacks. Bad Idea, right? It's okay. Not bad songs from Billie Eilish and Lana Del Rey and Tom Odell and Sia. Sam Smith, Madonna, it's interesting. And it, you know, it's a good chance to sort of look at bad language and music. When does it work? When does it not work? Abysmal, worst song of the album probably, Will I Am and Britney, Mind Your Business, utter drivel. One of the best is Jazzy, another one of the best, Gorgon City, they're both contenders. I like the Timbaland and Nelly Furtado and Timberlake one. Pretty keen on the Leanne one, that was quite good. And S Club kind of tugs at the heartstrings. Sugar Babes does a bit. Solid songs from Duran Duran, The Killers, Pretenders, Dermot Kennedy, James Arthur, Sean Ducrot, Luke Combs, good cover of Fast Car. And this one, Agneta, Where Do We Go From Here? So it's not one of the best nows ever. It's a bit kind of middle of the road in a way, with some of this stuff. A little bit granny-ish in places. I don't really feel it's at the cutting edge of music, but it's got its moments, like Gorgon City, that, you know, show what's going on and the more kind of, you know, upfront side of things. The biggest disappointment's probably Becky Hill in Chasing Status, and I'm really, really cross with you, Becky, you know. Okay, guys, well, let me know what you think. That's really what counts. Take care and have a great Christmas if I don't see you before. Now, 116, out now.